Hey there, I'm Drake, the Drake. How are you all doing? Way back in 1998, Insomniac Games released Spyro the Dragon, which became a much beloved classic for the PlayStation 1. And in 2018, Toys for Bob released the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which was a remake of the original classics. About a year ago, my friend Noob wanted to watch me get the achievements in the Reignited Trilogy and was kind enough to gift it to me. As for the achievements, there are a total of 105 split across the three games, with 36 being in the first. For the most part, they tend to be pretty straightforward to get, with there usually being one achievement in each level. Some might be a little harder than others, but I'd say overall for the most part they're pretty easy. That's pretty much all that needs to be said about the achievements, so let's go ahead and have fun starting up the game. So things were going pretty well in the world of dragons until Lindar decided to start running his mouth.
I'll take that question. Nasty Nork is a simple creature. Simple? He has been contained in a remote world and is no threat to the Dragon Kingdom. No threat? Besides, he is ugly. Ugly? That does it!
Huh? Looks like I've got some things to do.
So now Spyro has to fix things thanks to Lindor upsetting Nasty Nork. Before getting around to messing with all that though, I checked out some of the cheat codes that this game has. First code I used basically makes Spyro 2D. Second one was one of the color codes that causes him to be all black. Then one of the codes is great for nostalgia since it gives him a more retro look, which is pretty cool. And the code I decided to stick with is the sunglasses one, since I think Spyro looks pretty good with them. So the first dragon we free during our adventure is Nestor, who happens to be the leader of the Artisan Dragons.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro.
This first area is the Artisan homeworld, which is a pretty mellow area and it's good for getting used to the controls. Also tweaked my options a little bit by turning on the map and turning off motion blur. There aren't any enemies in the Artisan homeworld that will attack you, which makes it pretty easy to grab all the gems and free the dragons that are around here. Also got a few sheep around here to help teach you how to get your health back in case you need it. Down on the pier is Marco the Balloonist, who will help you reach the other homeworlds once you reach a certain requirement. In this case, you need to rescue 10 dragons to meet the requirement. And by getting up onto this ledge, I learned about skill points, which will unlock concept art once you collect all of them. In a different video, I'll show off some of that art after I go back and collect some of the skill points I don't get. The second dragon to be freed is Tomas, who teaches us how to glide.
Hey, Spyro! Press the jump button twice to glide.
Then heading back near the fountain, we rescue Delvin.
Where's Nasty Nork? I'll torch him.
Keep your horns on, Spyro! You have much to learn first.
This fountain is also how we get our first achievement. After hopping on all the platforms, we open up the hidden entrance to Sunny Flight. And hanging out near the entrance to the boss portal is the last dragon we need to save, Argus.
Do that again.
The Artisan's boss is through a portal in the Dragon Mouth, but you are not yet ready, Spyro.
With our first 100% completion, it's time to hop into our first proper level, which is Stonehill. After chasing around some sheeps and rams, I free Aster right near the level exit.
After you've freed all the dragons.
Also got to learn about locked gem chests after finding my first key. The achievement on this level is pretty easy since all you need to do is chase down and flame 10 sheep. In a cave, we find Lindar, who's the ass who started this entire mess.
When you free a dragon or step on one of their platforms, you're saving your progress.
And shortly afterwards, we find Gildas hanging out on top of a tower.
Spyro, my friend, how about a hint on gliding?
This is the first egg thief that I get to chase after. He's not too hard to chase down, so we're able to rescue our first dragon egg. Down in the dried up well, I find the locked gem chest and also Gavin, who's the last dragon we need to rescue.
Watch the dragonfly, Spyro.
One handy trick that Sparks has is being able to point out gems that you haven't found. I don't remember using it all that much in the first game, but it was pretty handy in the other two games. With Stonehill done, it's time to hop into Dark Hollow. Here's the first enemy who can't be flamed and needs to be bashed instead. First of the three dragons we save here is Albin.
Oh, it's you. I wasn't sure if you'd escape those annoying little creatures.
And then we have an easy time getting our next achievement, which is just lighting 2 bonfires. Near the exit portal, we save Darius.
Big enemies like this Nork with the club cannot be cheated.
And down in the cave, we find the last dragon, Oswin.
Spyro.
And to finish off the level, we just pop open the locked gem chest for an easy completion. The last level to do of the Artisan homeworld is Town Square. It doesn't take long to rescue Nils, nor very long to save Cake Master Devlin,
Thanks, Spyro.
and Alvar hanging out near the exit portal.
Spyro, did you see him?
With a pretty easy glide that brings us to where the egg thief is, we get our next achievement. I also have my first death here, since I didn't quite get the hang of gliding just yet, it seems. It's a good thing achievements can't be taken away. Right next to the last dragon is a fan chest, which has the last gem that we need to collect. Thor's the last dragon hanging out in Town Square.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro.
So all we need to do now is grab the egg from the egg thief. The area we had opened up with our first achievement is Sunny Flight, which is the first speedway level of the series. Since this was my first time doing one of these flying levels, my first attempt didn't go all that well. Figured I'd get the achievement out of the way here, since all that you need to do is just a quick loop-de-loop around one of these arches. Also a bit surprised that was the first rare achievement to pop up, considering how easy it was. So to show off the full successful run, I figured I'd bump it up to 2 times speed. And the first thing I focus on doing is destroying all the barrels that are on the trains. Then I fly over to the plane area and start destroying some of those while also grabbing a couple arches. After taking down the last few planes, it was pretty easy to fly through the rest of the archways. All that's left was to get the golden chest, which gave me a bit of trouble here and there. With all those done, I managed to get a time of 1:51. The next easy achievement I was able to grab was taking a balloon ride over to the Peacekeeper's world. And the first dragon we meet here is the leader of the Peacekeeper dragons, Titan.
Welcome to Peacekeeper.
I almost ended up drowning in a puddle of tar making my way back to the balloonist. Needed to go back to the Arson's homeworld since I forgot all about Toasty. This boss world has some enemies that prove to be rather tricky at times, which are these dogs that take a couple hits to take down. There's only one dragon here, which is Nevin, so he's pretty easy to rescue.
Nasty Nork has put one of his...
So this spooky looking scarecrow guy is Toasty, who's the boss of this area. Honestly, he's not much of a threat. If anything, the dogs are much more of a threat compared to him. We also get to find out that Toasty is in fact a pretty crafty sheep. So yeah, defeating him without getting hit's pretty easy. Getting hit by the dogs fortunately doesn't void the achievement. So now we're back in the Peacekeeper's world and ready to get stuff done here. First things first is to use one of these cannons to take out one of these Norks that's trying to taunt us. Then right nearby we get to rescue this big-bellied fellow named Magnus.
Hey, Spyro!
Also get some more use out of the cannon by destroying a couple of strong chests with it, as well as a rock column that's blocking one of our ways around the area. Near the last dragon is an egg thief that doesn't end up putting up much of a fight, and then we're able to rescue Gunner.
Well done, Spyro. Keep up the good...
Around the locked gem chest are a few topper chests, which are the first I've seen so far. And there were just a few more gems I had to find, with one being stuck right next to some weird collision, which was interesting. The first Peacekeeper world we jump into is Dry Canyon, which has a egg thief pretty close to the beginning area. After saving the dragon egg, we save our first dragon, which is Conan.
What? Huh? Oh. Thank you for releasing me, Spyro.
Got another quick and easy achievement, which is just charging into one of these vultures. In the fort, next to the vultures we just killed, we were able to find Ivor.
Is that you, Spyro?
Then a little bit along the way, we find Boris, who has a pretty cool rattling tail.
Right, kid.
With a couple of good glides, we were able to find the last dragon, which is Maximus.
Incredible glide, Spyro. I thought I'd be stuck.
Easy enough to find the last few gems stuck in a treasure chest, and then complete the level. Next level to hop into is Cliff Town, which has some enemies that have these really neat fire-resistant capes. Got another egg thief, which is pretty easy to chase down and grab the dragon egg from. Alvor here has a pretty wicked-looking warhammer, and his buddy Enzo has a pretty nice-looking mace as well. This level also has the first set of fireworks you get to light off and use to destroy a strong chest. There's an area we can glide to which has a bunch of vultures, which is where we get the achievement for flaming every one of them. The last dragon to rescue is Marco, who seems to be sporting a set of prosthetic wings along with a halberd. Gliding from where Marco was, we're able to grab the gems that are hidden behind the starting area. The last regular level here is Ice Cavern, which is quite a bit different from the other two levels of the Peacekeeper realm. This level has 5 dragons to rescue, so we start off by freeing Ulrich, then Andor, and Todor. The achievement here is pretty easy as well, since all you gotta do is take out a few Norks that are skiing around. Then we go free Ragnar, who has a pretty cool hammer tail. And the last Dirk here is Asher, who's near the exit. Last few gems I needed were on these posts that you have to knock down, which was a pretty neat novelty. The Peacekeeper's Speedway here is Night Flight. It has some arches that prove to be a bit tricky to get through. Night Flight starts off easy enough though with these rings that you get to fly through. I ended up going in a rather weird order by grabbing some of the lighthouses, then some of the arches, and then going after the chests. Fortunately, following the chest led me to the other area where the arches and lighthouses are, so while being rather close on time, I was able to finish them off. Was able to get a time of 1:18.1. Got another one of the rare achievements, which was just to fly around and flame all the direction fairies that are floating around the course. Now we get to head to the boss world here and try and take on Dr. Shemp. Some of the enemies are fun to mess with here, since if you just dodge them, they'll usually end up walking off the cliff. Now the achievement here involves opening up a locked chest, so we need to grab the key that's here. The only Dirk here is Trondo, so he's pretty easy to save.
Dr. Shemp thinks he's so cool.
Dr. Shemp is a pretty easy enough boss. All you gotta do is flame that cake of his. He'll mix things up a bit with his attacks per area, but it's still pretty easy to flame that rear end of his once he exposes it. Able to flame him one last time after jumping over his attack, and that's Dr. Shemp defeated. Then we just drop down to the locked chest and pop it open and grab the last of the gems and the achievement.
I can't believe how fast you found so, but hop aboard for the Magic Crafter's World if you're ready.
Now we're off to catch a ride from Gosnold to head to the Magic Crafter's World. The achievement here is pretty close to the beginning of the area, and all you have to do is charge through 4 of the armored druids that are lined up here. And right nearby is Cosmos, who is the leader of the Magic Crafter Dragons.
Welcome to Magic Crafter.
There's also an egg thief we're able to flame before he's able to run off, so we're able to get the dragon egg from him. In the next area, there's an egg thief running around in circles, and he's not too hard to catch as well. The next dragon we find is Xantor, and he teaches us about the supercharge ramps that are nearby. The supercharge ramp allows us to get by the druid that's been trying to block our way, and also rescue Boldar, who's the last dragon here.
This portal leads to a special place where you can learn to fly.
And with popping open this locked chest, I get the last of the gems that are in this area. So now we hop into the first world of Alpine Ridge, which has druids that are using their magics to mess around with things. This level has 4 dragons to rescue, so the first one we save is Zane. But before we get to rescuing the others, I take a little bit of a break to use a feather to play with my cat Cammy. With these next dragons, we're actually getting to the halfway mark of rescuing all of them. So we grab Eldred,
Thank you for releasing me.
Xander,
Great work, Spyro.
and Kelvin, who reminds me of an ice dragon I know.
Remember that these blue thieves have stolen eggs.
With now half the Dirks rescued, we can use our next achievement as an excuse to pop off some firework chests to celebrate. The nearby area has an egg thief we can chase down and snatch a dragon egg from. And with one last firework chest, we're able to grab the rest of our gems and finish off the level. The next level to do is High Caves, which starts off with some wizards fighting each other. It's easy enough to get past them, so that way we can rescue Cyrus, who's nearby.
Please do something about these green druids.
And an arachnophobia warning for those of you who hate spiders. There are some really big ones we gotta deal with here. The last two dragons here that we need to grab are Ajax and Cedric.
Try combining your supercharge.
To get the achievement on this level, we have to exterminate all the spiders that are in the caves. One way to take them out is tackling them with a supercharge. We can also get Super Flame thanks to a fairy giving us a kiss. It's definitely much easier to use Super Flame to exterminate the spiders. There are a couple dragon eggs here that need to be rescued, so I go ahead and take out the first egg thief. And the second egg thief is running around this pond, which you can easily jump over and flame him. Next to where the egg thief was are a couple of fan chests, which have the last few gems that I need for the level. The last level of this realm is Wizard Peak, which starts off easily enough with rescuing Jarvis. I chilled a little bit with my other cat Sammy since I had to take my glasses off because of a point redeem. So by supercharge jumping over to this platform here, there's a egg thief hiding behind the wall here that we can grab. By taking him out, we unlock the egg hunt achievement, which is worth 30 gamer score. For some reason, my notifications weren't popping up though when getting the achievement. So we move on to saving the second dragon here, Hexus.
Well done,
Just past him is another egg thief that's hanging out near a pond who doesn't end up putting up much of a fight. The last dragon here is Lucas, who has a pretty cool looking globe floating near his horn.
Listen carefully, Spyro.
On this pedestal here are the last few gems that I need that are hiding away in these chests. The speedway here we get to do is Crystal Flight, which I almost managed to complete on my first try. Turn around and get it. No! Oh my god, don't fucking tell me. I almost got this on the first try. Fuck, that's agony. That's just fucking agony. So I start off by downing a few planes and then grabbing some of the chests that are along the way. I'm able to get a few more of the planes while making my way over to the rings that are easy enough to fly through. The rings lead me to the beginning of the arches, which is nice, and then I'm able to wrap my way back around to where the planes are also at. And after finishing off the plane and arches, all I have to do is grab the last few chests. Was able to get a time of 1:16.7. The achievement here was same as the last speedway, where we just had to flame all the direction fairies. And for some reason the notification for it didn't pop as well. After a quick reset of my Series X, I was all set to go after Blowhard. This level's pretty easy, and Blowhard is quite a pushover as well. And while chasing after him, we find Altair, who doesn't look much like an assassin to me.
For releasing me, Spyro.
So we just run after Blowhard and flame him a couple times, and he goes down without much of a fight. The achievement here is also really easy, since all it is just collecting the gems here.
Like to go?
Now we can head to the Beastmaker's realm using Tuco's balloon. Now we're deep in the swamps, and the first dragon we find is Bruno, who's the leader of the Beastmaker dragons.
Nasty Nork is torn.
And the other dragon here is Cletus, who's hanging out not too far away.
Spyro!
In this area there are 5 glowing mushrooms we need to find and flame. Fortunately they stand out pretty well, so it's not too hard to find them. After popping open a locked chest and finishing off the gems in this area, I'm ready to head to Terrace Village. Some of the Norks here have these neat turrets they run around in that we have to avoid being shot by. After clearing out the gunners, we're able to rescue Claude. And the other dragon here, Cyprin, looks like a pretty chill dude.
Good job, Spyro.
I was able to finish off the gems, but I did have to reset the level so I could get the achievement here. In order to get it, all I need to do is just light off the 3 fireworks that are next to each other. After narrowly avoiding a boar, I'm able to escape into Misty Bog. One nice thing about this level is we can quickly grab the achievement by just freeing the chicken that's behind the starting area. The chicken doesn't make it though. This level has 4 Durgs to rescue, so we start off by freeing Roscoe,
Be on the lookout for attack from.
then Damon,
Thanks for releasing me.
and Zeke,
Thank you for releasing me.
and lastly Bubba, who, well, happens to be the most popular of the rescued dragons on E621.
Smash them, Spyro.
It's easy enough to wrap up the level by grabbing the last of the gems, and then we get to go to one of the more infamous levels, which is Treetops. The first dragon here, Lyle, is pretty easy to get to.
Reading, Spyro.
Treetops has quite a few supercharged ramps, which make getting around the area pretty different from most of the other levels. After jumping around a bit, we find Isaac, who's the second dragon here.
Spyro.
And to get the achievement here, all we need to do is jump off every supercharged ramp, which is straightforward enough to do. What isn't straightforward, however, is using some of the supercharged ramps to get to some of the harder areas to reach. I'll admit that after a while I didn't have much luck figuring out how to do these ramps on my own. Ended up checking out some vids on YouTube so I could learn how to pull off some of these jumps. It's interesting that the thieves here actually have gems instead of eggs. This set of super jumps can be pretty tricky to pull off if you don't get the right amount of height on the jumps. As long as you remember to glide mid-jump, you should be able to make it to this platform and have an easy enough time grabbing the last of the gems that are here. And here we have Jed, who's probably considered one of the harder dragons to rescue in this game.
That was quite a ride.
Now with one of the harder levels completed, we can check out the Wild Flight Speedway. Also was almost able to complete this speedway on my first try, but I unfortunately missed one of the boats and wasn't able to take it out before the time ran out. I feel like I more or less just winged it on this speedway, just going after whatever was right in front of me as best as I could. Fortunately, that was good enough to get a time of 101.9 and also get the achievement of never touching the ground, which I don't think you'd ever end up doing anyways. Now we get to go fight Metalhead, and before we fight him, we rescue Sadiki, who's the only dragon on this level.
Metalhead is all charged up to meet you.
Metalhead has a gimmick which makes his boss fight a little bit more interesting compared to the others. All you need to do in each area is just take out all the pylons by charging through them. It's still pretty easy to crash through all of them, and once they're all gone in the second area, he just simply falls over defeated. The achievement on this level is the same as it was for the last boss, which is just collecting all the gems in the level.
Are you ready to go?
Prey lets us borrow his balloon so we can head to the Dream Reaver's world, which is the last world before Nasty Norks. The achievement here is pretty similar to the one that the Magic Crafters had, where you have to charge through a group of enemies. There are 3 dragons to rescue in this realm, and the first one I find is Zikamo.
Hello, Spyro.
Then I come across Mozzie,
The fools you see in this world
and the last one is the leader of the Dreamweavers, Latif.
Welcome to the Dreamweavers, young one.
After finishing off the gems like usual, I head to the first level, which is Dark Passage. Not long into the level and up this lift, we come across our first dragon, which is Cassia.
The enemies here can be quite frightening.
Then we rescue Azizi,
Thank you for releasing me.
and right behind him we're able to get our next achievement, which is just flaming 3 of the demon dogs while they're in their large form. Near the level exit is Bakari,
You know, I think you just...
and then we go and rescue Apara,
Thanks, Spyro. I'd love to help you.
and the last of the 5 dragons here is Obasi.
Thank you for releasing me.
With all of them rescued, I'm able to grab the last of the gems here and then head to Lofty Castle. The first dragon I come across is Mudada.
Fairies are always on your side.
A little further on, we come across Baruti,
Thank you for releasing me.
and near the later part of the level, we find Useni, who is the 69th dragon that we rescued. Nice. After grabbing all the gems, I had to reset the level so that way I could get the achievement for charging through 4 puffer birds, since I had messed that up on my first time through the level. Haunted Towers is the last regular level for the Dreamweaver's realm, and there are a bunch of magical knights around here that we have to deal with since they're in the way and we also need them for an achievement. Fortunately, there's a fairy we can get a kiss from, so we're able to use Super Flame to take out all of the knights. Heading towards the towers, we're able to find and rescue Kosoko,
Hey, Spyro.
and inside the towers, we're able to find Lutalo.
Patience, little one.
This level also has a supercharged jump that's pretty tricky to figure out first time around, but once we figure it out, we're able to access a new part of the tower and rescue Capano.
You've become a master of the supercharge.
In this area, there's a fairy that will give you a kiss of super flame that lasts forever. Thanks to her, it's really easy to defeat the rest of the armored knights. Was able to get a good amount of gems here, and so now I'm able to go do some flying at the Icy Flight Speedway. My first few attempts on the speedway didn't go too well. More often than not, I'd barely miss flaming some of the targets. I'm rather surprised I was able to complete the run that I did, considering it felt very sloppy for the most part. But I at least ended with a time of 1:41 and got the achievement for never touching the ground. The last boss that we get to fight is Jax. He can be seen hanging out behind the first dragon we rescue, which is Rivalo. And the last unique dragon that we rescue is Unica.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro.
In one of the side areas, we're able to work on getting the achievement here. All we need to do is just flame the 4 nightmare beasts that are hanging out here while gliding. Now Jax is a pretty easy boss, just like all the bosses before him. Just need to avoid the presents that he throws and flame him a few times, and he goes down without much fuss.
Are you ready to go?
Amos is able to take us to Nasty's world, which is the last realm of the game. Here we have Delbin, who we've rescued for a second time now, which just leaves 5 more we need to rescue. And they're all dragons we've previously rescued before.
Hey, didn't I already free you?
You're in Nasty's world now, Spyro, and you are the dragon that must defeat him.
The levels also work a little bit differently here since you need to do them in order. So to start, we jump into Nork Cove. The achievement here is a bit different. We can't kill any of the rats that are here, which also means we're not able to heal ourselves. So in this level, we end up rescuing Latif and Tomas again.
Keep up the good work, Spyro.
Wow, I never thought I'd be rescued.
To make things a little bit easier, I completed the level. That way I wouldn't have to worry about killing any rats while grabbing the last of the gems. It was pretty quick and easy to grab the last few gems that I needed. The next level that we opened up is Twilight Harbor. One of the gunners managed to put me in a pretty awkward position. And, well, unfortunately there wasn't any way I could get myself out of that mess. So moving on, we rescue Cosmos.
Thank you for rescuing me.
And then we rescue Cletus.
Be on the lookout for Nork Commandos, Spyro.
So after getting all the gems collected, I got to work on the achievement for this level. There are 6 gears that are scattered around the harbor, and I need to destroy all of them. A few of them are pretty easy to find, while some of the other ones tend to blend into the environment pretty well. So that's the last level of the game done, and now we get to try and fight Nasty Nork. The fight starts off with having to avoid his attacks, and then chasing after some thieves that have some keys that we need. These guys can be pretty quick, but with enough perseverance, it's not too hard to try and flame them. Now, by unlocking the area that Nasty Nork is at, we get to work on the achievement here. All we need to do is just chase Nasty Nork around for a while until we've done 5 laps around the entire area. Once done with that, we can flame them, and then we just gotta do some platforming and finish them off. Now that Nasty Nork's been taken care of, there's just one last thing we need to do.
You're toast, Nork.
What about Ganasty Ganork?
Nasty Nork is toast. I'd say the sky's the limit.
The ending credits has some nice art that's fun to check out on the first time watching it. So the very last Durg we get to save here is Magnus, who tells us how we can open up Nasty's loot.
Nasty's ancient history now. So, what's in there?
I believe this is Nasty's treasure hoard. But the gate will only open if you have found everything in the Dragon Kingdom. Come back when you have reached 100%.
Fortunately enough, we've already reached 100%, so the gate opens up automatically. This level's sort of like a flying level, with the main thing being that we gotta hunt down a bunch of thieves. By taking them out, we're able to get these keys that open up new areas. And with these areas, we're able to get a bit of extra height that we can fly higher with. The thieves are still pretty easy to grab, even if there are a couple that pop up in airplanes that we have to chase down. And once we have the last key, we're able to break into Nasty Nork's room. We get to end things with a bang by setting off all these firework chests. And after scooping up all the gems, we get the last achievement for this game, which is pretty sweet, and we've also completed it with 120%.
Uh-oh, here we go again.
It'll actually be a while until we rescue some more dragons. So now with a video on the first game done, I now need to work on a video for Ripto's Rage. Hopefully all goes well with editing it, and I hope you all enjoyed watching this video.
How do we get ourselves into these messes, pal?
Hey there, do you guys like behind the scenes stuff? So for a while now I've been wanting to try and make some stuff for YouTube, but I've ended up putting it off more often than not. One thing I've always loved doing is trying to get all the achievements in games, and it seemed like it'd be a fun idea to try and make vids about such stuff. Originally I was thinking about making a video about BioShock since I had fun playing through the remasters in the beginning of 2023. I had gotten a good chunk of the video done, but it was a bit of a slow process because my PC is not the strongest. If I were to tab out of Sony Vegas, usually it'd take a couple minutes or so to get back into it. So with some spare cash I had, I decided to upgrade my PC, seeing as that could probably help things. And while they did help speed things up a bit, unfortunately I couldn't get the project file to open as it would just crash each time. With that being an annoying issue, I decided to just shelve it for the time being. Some months went by, and come July I decided I wanted to try and make another video again. I was turning 30, so I sort of wanted to try and make a vid and release it around my birthday. So I spent a while working on the vid, and to no surprise, I was a lazy son of a bitch and never finished it. And so the months skipped by like nothing, and before you know it, we're here at April. I would go into why I decided to get back into making this video, but I feel like it'd be more appropriate to leave that for the next video. The next game I'll be covering is Expeditions, which is a part of the Mudrunner series. I have some things to say about that game, and my language will probably be a bit more colorful at times when describing it. Some interesting things happened while I had been playing it, which helped motivate me to make videos again. And after Expeditions, I'd plan on making a vid on Ripto's Rage to alternate between the Spyro games. I have a bunch of other games that I think it could be fun to make vids about. Thinking I might end up focusing on the more niche stuff like indie games and whatnot. Some random ones I can think of are the Turok series, Unmetal, Descenders, Streets of Rogue, and Blades of Darkness, to name a few. I'm hoping I can try and make vids every 2 or 3 weeks. Hopefully I'll be able to commit to a somewhat decent release schedule. Editing's not really my forte, so I'm rather slow at it, which is also why I kept putting stuff off, since I don't necessarily enjoy sifting through a bunch of footage or doing voiceover stuff. Unfortunately, a more liking the idea of making something than actually making it kind of thing. We'll just have to see how it all goes, and maybe one of my friends can help me with editing sometime. And before I forget, I'd like to mention who made all the expressions and poses for my Sona. A while ago, I commissioned this nice little ocelot, Andy. He makes great art, and his prices are really good, so if you're looking to commission someone, I'd highly recommend checking him out. Besides all that, I tend to stream every day on Twitch. I've been playing the Great Stalker Anomaly mod since I'm on a stalker kick after completing the Legends of the Zone trilogy. So feel free to pop in if you'd like. It's always nice having a chill time talking with people. And to those of you who stuck around to the end, I hope you found the vid enjoyable and have a good rest of your day. Until next time, take care.